Hey Patrick,
Hey Mark, hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm actually this week I will say that I'm okay-ish because yeah, yesterday was quite an awful day, so yeah, I don't feel that good. I slept pretty poorly, and yesterday the Russia and Ukraine stuff, let's say it kind of escalated. So yeah, it's okay-ish. Usually I'm pretty good, in a good mood. I feel healthy, but yeah, I think it's okay-ish for now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're forgiven for feeling okay in these times.
Hmm. Yeah, it's super weird. I hope and I pray for all those people there, and it makes me super sad that actually that we still live in a world where this is possible. I was kind of hopeful that we evolved from those kind of worlds, but yeah, I think it was pretty naive. So I'm a German, so yeah, I have a pretty bad history, I guess. But I thought that the humanity would have evolved a little bit more, that we don't need this harsh warship and stuff like this. I thought we can take this more like a diplomatic way, make it a Cold War with sanctions and stuff like this. But yeah, maybe I'm a little bit naive. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think human nature really changes too much. So
Mhm.
yeah, within a generation or within a lifespan, basically, we forget all our mistakes, all of the things we
Yeah,
did wrong again. So I think the cycle will
that's
just
true.
repeat over time.
Yeah, that's true. And not to go off on a too big tangent, but I actually so I have a grandma. She is 93 years old, and she will get 94 hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And if you compare this, so if you have a grandma, she experienced the Second World War, and my mother and my father, they're both still alive, and they were never experiencing war. They are now 60 years old roughly, and I'm so hopeful that we and our children's children, we won't experience such crap that my grandmother experienced. She told me a little bit about it, and especially those tough times. And man, hope this is all just a muscle flexing game from all those people, and things will pray out, work out well.
Yeah, let's hope so. Like, it's hard to imagine to see like conscription or something in Germany or Netherlands, you know. I can't imagine
Mm.
like random gamers coming out of their chair to enlist in the army, but yet
Yeah,
this thing is happening in Ukraine, so it's not
yeah,
that far away from us.
mm,
So yeah, time will tell.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, do you want to transition to crypto stuff?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, have you made any changes to your portfolio over the last couple of weeks? So last week there was a misalignment, let's say a technical issue between both of us. So we screwed it up to record a podcast. So the last snapshot of our podcast was 2 weeks ago. Did you make any changes between the last 2 weeks and now?
Um, not really. No, nothing significant. I went on holiday, and what I did is I reduced my max loan to value, like my debt on some of the protocols, but not all of them.
Hmm.
But it didn't really significantly impact my portfolio, so I haven't done anything. I have
Hmm.
considered many time of swapping to stables or swapping to risk on assets, but I haven't
Hmm.
made any changes in this regard. What about you?
Wait, wait. You consider to swapping into stables and to risk on assets. That's the opposite of both, right? So the
Um, I
can you
mean,
explain?
there are times where I thought, yeah, things are going to get a lot worse. Let me go stables. And there are times that I've thought,
Yeah.
everyone is stables now. Is it really the best time to go stables? Maybe I should be contrarian and go to risk on assets. This is what I
Mark the
mean. So
contrarian.
I didn't think of these things at the same time, but like I've considered both options over the
Hmm.
last 2 weeks.
Yeah, makes sense.
What
Um,
about you? Did you change anything in your portfolio?
yeah, actually, I changed. Let's say it's not a big change. I changed 2 times over the last 2 weeks, and I basically sold about. If you think about it, it's pretty big actually. I sold about 4% of my BTC over the last couple of 2 weeks. Now that I think about it, it's pretty big. So what did I do? I shifted 1.5% from BTC into ETH 2 weeks ago because I have way higher conviction in ETH, and I think it has roughly the same downside, but the upside is way bigger. And then I changed roughly 1.5% into risk on assets, but not the Legion ones. It's more like the stuff where I have quite high conviction, like Matic and Solana and stuff like this. So and the MVI, the Metaverse Index. This was the one shift I made, and the other shift I made, it was a couple of days ago. I transitioned even more BTC into ETH. And now I'm at roughly. I need to update my tracking sheets. I think I'm at now roughly 20% BTC, 70% ETH, 1% altcoins, and 9% stablecoins. And we can talk a little bit later on what I do with my stablecoins. It's not that I just hold them and hack them. It's I put them to use and I learn a lot. So yeah, I basically have now roughly 5% less BTC and roughly 5% more ETH. This was my reallocation. And I'm thinking about doing this even more, but not for now. The world is just too crazy for now. I will chill for a couple of weeks and be an what is it called? Observer, I guess. So to observe things before I make my next action.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, you mentioned it before to me earlier.
Mm.
Yeah, you would think like I mean I can definitely see your point, right? Of ETH having more upside and having similar downside as we have seen so far. Like ETH hasn't reduced drastically more than Bitcoin has.
Mm.
So yeah, I can definitely see a point there, and curious how this year will play out. With the merge and these kind of things, or the
Yeah,
proof of stake,
I'm really
transition.
excited for this.
So yeah.
But to give you and our listeners maybe the last nuance to this. So my time horizon for this change of allocation is 5 years. It's not 5 months. It's not 5 weeks. It's 5 years. So I think over the next 5 years, I think ETH will outperform BTC massively. I could be totally off. There could be some white swans or black swans happening, but for now, I think it's the most um, what was it called? Most it makes the
Likely
most
scenario or
sense.
something? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, for me at least.
Cool.
Okie dokie. Do you want to transition to remarkable things that happened?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So I will cover things that happened the last 2 weeks since last week the podcast didn't go through.
Mhm.
So one of the things I noticed that was a news article that the New York Stock Exchange, they want to be the marketplace for NFTs, just like
What?
with stocks. Yes. So they want to list NFTs, and they want to compete with OpenSea. And they also want
What?
to list their
Okay.
own New York Stock Exchange token. So I thought that was pretty huge
What?
news.
Even down talking?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So just crypto is really getting mainstream, and especially NFTs are also getting mainstream if it
Yeah.
wasn't already. So I thought it
The
was
token part is really
amazing news.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was really interesting. So I wonder when we will see NFTs hosted on the Deutsche Börse and the AX and these kind of things.
Mhm. Any idea on how they tackle the issue of it's a security or not? Because the New York Stock Exchange, they basically have to think about this in the first 2 seconds, right?
I think they. I'm not 100% sure, but the reason that the news came out is they did some regulatory filings for the U.S. Patent Office.
Mhm.
So my hunch is that they will just do it, legally and on the books, right? Right. So they probably already, how do you call it, asked the regulators before they, announced this.
It's a
So
really interesting sign.
yeah, I thought it was quite interesting.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
think
cool.
regulators, to be honest, I think they don't mind NFTs as much as they mind
Mm.
tokens, So, but of course they
Mm.
want to list their own tokens. That's interesting. But yeah, so with regards to the regulatory aspect, it's not, it's unclear still.
Mm. Yeah, but it's interesting. I think this could be a good sign for regulation within the US, and yeah, cool. I'm really interested in seeing the details of the token launch.
Hmm.
If it's just an hype work because they decided to get more attention, but if they can make it this work, awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yeah, it would bring a lot of legitimacy, I think,
Yeah,
to NFTs, even more than it already has.
yeah, cool. Anything else?
Yeah. So Nansen, right?
Yep, the data gathering platform, right?
Yeah. So for the people who don't know, Nansen is basically a website where it has a paid subscription, and they have a lot of interesting data on blockchains. So you can see, like for instance, if I look like your public key or something, I can see if you're like a big yield farmer or something, or I can see, you know, what you have taped in, and you can see kind of for funds, for instance, you can see the history of the tokens they're doing when they are selling their, you know, their stashes and these kind of things. So they also do a lot of interesting machine learning things. And one of the features they have added is a price estimator for NFT projects based on machine learning.
Okay.
So I thought that was really interesting because this allows you to yeah, have an idea of what you should list your NFTs at. You know, what would be a fair price based on based on history.
Mm.
And
Is that? Oh,
sorry, go
sorry.
ahead.
Go ahead, please. No, go
Uh,
ahead, please.
no, I think Nansen, from what I've read, they're really becoming big. Like a lot of people from Google and the big tech companies, they're all joining Nansen because yeah, Nansen is like the new tech hotness, basically. You know,
Mm.
so I think they have a lot of interesting features, and I should really stop being so stingy and you know get a subscription to them since they have so many awesome features.
Do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, what is your question, Patrick?
My question is actually, so it sounds super interesting that they're having this AI thing to estimate the prices. Um, is there some track record on so did they do it and did it came out like they estimated, or isn't there no history right now?
No, no, it is so it's based on history plus other characteristics. So they built a learning
Yeah,
model.
but my question is what about their estimations? Can we take a look at what they thought it would happen and what actually happened so that we can judge if their engine is good or bad?
From what I recall, yeah, it is. So I will link the post, and then you can take a look there, and you can see I
Yeah,
think
cool.
there as well the deviation, you know, between the estimate
Mhm.
and what
Yeah,
it sells
exactly.
for.
Awesome, cool, interesting.
Okay, and then I have one more thing,
Hmm.
and that is the token. Yeah, this you know this the central games.
Decentra games? No, what is this?
You you know DG like the central games. It's like yeah, they're one of the earliest yeah, how do you call it? Play to
No, I
earn
don't
kind
know
of
them.
game
No.
creators.
Do you mean Decentraland? No,
No, no, I
I
mean
mean,
the Central Games.
no, never heard
It's a
about them.
studio. Okay, so the Central Games, it's a studio. It's one of the very earliest studios I've become aware of. Like I've been following them a little bit since last year, and I
Hmm.
always thought that they were a little bit like low quality. Like a lot of the things they do is very like the graphics are very easy to make because they use like cubes and these kind of things, you know. So
Hmm.
I thought it was always like a little bit of a low effort studio, but they've been really popping off. And what they have been specialized in uh, is um, is in casinos inside metaverses.
Uh-huh.
And they just generated like last month 15 million in revenue on their casino.
Hmm.
And part of it is just just fees, but also part of it is like uh, basically fashion and these kind of things inside inside the metaverse, inside the casino. You know, so
Hmm.
like the stuff you wear to pimp out your character and these kind of things. But I was just thinking that this is basically roughly 181 million annualized, and that for, their annualized earnings. And if you compare this to a real life casino, like for instance MGM, they have around 2 billion um, profit. So
Profit.
yeah. So it's of course different than earnings, but
Mm.
considering the growth trajectory, of these metaverse casinos, I can actually see a point in time in the distant future where metaverse casinos, bring in more profit than actual physical casinos.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
Especially because I think metaverse casinos are also a lot more convenient for people, right? Than a physical casino. Of course, physical casinos they are really built to keep you hooked and to keep you playing.
Mm.
So I wonder how they will do this in the metaverse. But I just thought it was kind of interesting and also a little bit disturbing, of course, because gambling is not necessarily a good habit. But yeah,
Mm.
I thought this is definitely an interesting growth industry.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a real casino?
Yeah.
Um, where have you been? Was it in the US or?
No, no, it was here in Netherlands.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So I know both worlds actually. So I know the casinos of the US and I know the casino Way for my back poker days when I played poker, I had some experiences within those online casinos. And let me say, yeah, not that good memories. But I think it's an interesting trend that makes total sense. I think they just need to do it different if they want to compete with the MGMs and with the whatever. Man, tough times ahead because yeah, the whole experience when you are in a casino in the US, you lose your feeling of time. You drink alcohol. You have people around you. Yeah, I think it's pretty different to just have an interaction on the metaverse. But yeah, this may be short-sighted. But let's say with the next 5 to 10 years, absolutely. But with the next couple of years, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I think it may change when it becomes more immersive when you have like VR goggles on and these kind of things, right?
Mm,
So maybe at
yeah.
some point they will be able to replicate the feeling of being in a
Mm,
real casino if you have a high fidelity
yeah.
VR glasses. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting
Yeah,
that they're
I
doing
think
quite
the
well.
use case makes sense. So there might be a good product market fit. Yeah, I basically agree with what you just said. Um, it comes down to the technology. Right now, it's just like a website, basically, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
but in a couple of years, it may be really cool to have your friends on there and to get rid to get their money because you play like poker and a metaverse casino and stuff like this. So yeah, it would be great.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, just one more thing that I would like to discuss, but that's a quick one.
Hmm.
I read a really good blog post from Metaportal. Do you know who Metaportal is?
No, can you explain, please?
I think Metaportal is the guys behind DVI, right? Um, so they are basically a group of specialists who specialize in metaverses, gaming, and these kind of things. And
Hmm.
they had a blog post on their Substack, which is called "The Current State of Crypto Gaming,"
Oh,
and
okay.
I thought that was a really really fair description of the state of crypto gaming right now. So
Oh.
uh, they mentioned a couple of the good points, but also a lot of what's wrong with crypto gaming right now.
Hmm.
And one thing that I didn't really realize is that a lot of the games right now, to even start playing them, like I will just give you a little quote, right? Um,
Hmm.
we came across 4 different games in the last couple of weeks, whether through Twitter, podcasts, or random comments. When we checked them out, we, re- we realized that they required an investment ranging from $2,000 to $5,500. In comparison, even the most expensive mass consumer game consoles only cost $500, and the
Hmm.
games weren't even live yet. So, like a lot of crypto games these days, they start off with some kind of token raise or NFT raise or these kind of things, right? Or land sale, or basically you buy your way into playing the game, and yeah the the amounts that you have to pay are really just staggering
Hmm.
compared to traditional games. Like it's just yeah, I can understand why so few people still play crypto games when it's so
Hmm.
expensive. And of course you can probably earn a little bit, but it's usually not worth it. So
Hmm.
yeah, I thought it was just interesting that yeah, these prices need to come down way, way more before it can become
Yeah.
mainstream.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm interested in this article. I need to read a little bit more about it. Yeah, but for now, crypto gaming is more like a speculation on the token itself. I think, at least my naive opinion. But I'm interested in it. I'm also invested in it a little bit
Hmm.
due to the MVI index, but I can't
Yeah,
give much nuance to what you said. You are way deeper in the space, so yeah, I will read up on it. And yeah, thanks for mentioning it.
yeah. And for the listeners, for those who like crypto gaming where you don't have to pay a lot, there's a game that I've been checking out recently. It's called Skyweaver, and instead of a token, Patrick, they use USDC as their main currency. And
Okay, that's cool.
it's like a Hearthstone kind of game where yeah you can buy packs with USDC, but it's just normal prices that you would expect from a trading card game and nothing
Hmm.
over the top basically. So I'd be curious to see how many games will use this kind of model instead, where they just use
Hmm.
USDC and just normal prices instead of their own token, which gets dumped a lot of the time.
Hmm. Yeah, I think this makes sense.
Cool. Did you have anything interesting, Patrick?
Yeah, actually, two interesting things I came across. So the first one is let me give you let me give a quick shout out to the guys of the GRAPE community. The GRAPE community is a community on Solana. You heard about them, right?
Yeah.
For listeners, quick explanation. So the GRAPE community is basically, they're launching their own products. There is this really awesome guy on YouTube. You have to love him or hate him. He's really cool. At least that's how I think about him. He's called Wales Friends, and he has this stream like once or twice a week. And he's one of the co-founders of GRAPE. And let me explain to you GRAPE real quick and why I think it could be an interesting investment case actually. So GRAPE, they're building their own products, but right now they have this concept that you have to buy their GRAPE token. And if you can verify that you have the GRAPE token, you get access to different channels. And one of those channels is the Solana Alpha channel. And it's really interesting because there are a lot of smart people in there who are deep into the Solana ecosystem, and they share basically ideas on how to find alpha within Solana. And you also get some airdrops. They have this inflation within the GRAPE protocol token. And the token itself, it has some more upsides, some event price pools and stuff like this. But for me, the most important part is actually getting access to those to the community. They're smart guys, like I said. And there is this one funny nuance I found in there, let's say 3 weeks ago. So so there are 3 different tier types: tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 1, you need to spend roughly, depending on the day, 30 days, $30 to get the access. The next tier is the, I think the Great Gibbon tier, which I'm in. It costs roughly $150 to hold the token. And then they have the Great Ape, I guess. It's cost, I think, multiple $100s, but not multiple thousands. And then you get access to the different tiers. And I found this really interesting project in there. I would like to give a little bit more explanation in the next section and what excites us part. But for now, I just want to give a shout out to the GRAPE community. I think awesome guys. If you are deep into the Solana ecosystem, or if you want to learn more about the Solana ecosystem, think about obviously no investing advice here, but at least think about getting involved in the GRAPE community. They do have some open channels, but they also have some gated communities. But I think it's worth to get into it. I was able to ask a lot of questions. I will list out some potential Solana yield farming strategies on there because I know there are some really good yield farmers in there to get some feedback. So yeah, I think it's a cool use case where a token actually makes sense, and I get value out of it, and it's not that overvalued. So $100 roughly to getting access to those kind of people. If you compare this to some kind of subscription, let's say a Taiki subscription. So Taiki is basically a YouTuber who has his own community. I think it's $100 a month right now. So yeah, if you compare this, it's different, but I think it's totally worth taking a look at it. What do you think about it? Have you ever heard about it? The GRAPE community?
Yeah, you've told me about it. I didn't know that Will's friend was a founder of that. I thought it was just aimed at influencers basically. But is it like a fixed number of tokens that you have to hold in your wallet, or is it like a fixed
Exactly.
dollar amount of tokens?
It's a fixed amount, but it's increasing by, I guess, a couple percent every month. So a month ago, I need to buy 5,500 tokens, and last month it was like 5,600 tokens. But one token is like a couple of cents, so it's totally irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's decreasing over time, but super, super small steps.
Okay, so it could be that recent price dumps have made it even more affordable to join.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I see. Okay. Yeah, it's quite interesting. It sounds a little bit like Friends with Benefits to me. I think they are one of the OGs in this,
Okay.
like kind of social token kind of aspect. I would need to think about it, Patrick. I'm stingy, like you know, so I don't really like to spend these kind of things. There's one other that I was also interested in. It's called, it's from Pickle Finance. They also have this channel called Dill DAO, and Dill as in the dill in pickle, you know. And there I've been checking the free version of that channel. It's on their Discord, and I thought the free version was already quite good, and it has some quite smart people. So maybe I should just take a look, or maybe you should, I don't know, quote me some quotes from there or something, or show me what it looks like, because it does sound pretty interesting, and I like that you're using it as a place to ask questions. So it's really cool.
So I do get the value out of it, and I would actually, if they say, okay, guys, we get rid of the token and you need to pay us $25 a month, I would absolutely do it, because I get aggregated information, and for me, my biggest bottleneck is not that I have too little information. I need aggregated information. I need good information. I can jump onto Twitter or whatever, and I can get 10,000 ideas within in half an hour. But yeah, that's a total waste of our time, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, some aggregation before, it saves a lot of time, and actually it's a huge plus EV thing, which I discovered there multiple times. So it's actually making me money by being in there. And yeah, but I can go into this into the what excites us part.
sure.
Um,
Uh,
I
could
do have one. Oh, go ahead, please.
could you explain like how they aggregate it, or is it like do you mean with aggregation that basically there aren't that many people in the chat, so everything is high
Exactly,
signal, or do you mean
exactly.
okay, I see.
There are not that many people in there, and it's like I guess like a forum. There are those quiet listeners or quiet readers who will never post, but there are those kinds of people in there who bring up ideas, who talk a lot, and those other yeah people yeah they seem quite knowledgeable.
Cool.
So not no spam actually. Okay, I do have one more remarkable thing that I would bring up, but I will keep it short in regards to time. There was this wormhole hack about 2 weeks ago where they basically exploited the smart contract, and they stole, in quotes, 120,000 ETH. You heard about this, right?
Yes.
And when this actually happened, I was at my PC, and I was taking a look at the prices of WH ETH, so basically the wormhole version of ETH, and I thought the price would go to zero. But the interesting point is that it kept its value quite nicely. And two days ago, I found something on Twitter where basically one did an arbitrage trade I would like to talk about real quick. And the arbitrage trade was basically like this. The guy had $130,000 of USDC, and he bought 1,200 SOL with it. So this was a fair price at this point. Then he exchanged this 1,200 SOL for 132 ETH, and this is not a fair price. You would get much less ETH for this. But the interesting point is then he had this 132 ETH, and he swapped it for 330,000 USDC. So the arbitrage was basically within three transactions of a profit of 200,000 bucks. And I was taking a look at it. Why did it happen? Can you do it again? And yeah, I know why it happened, and you can't do it again right now. It's basically, and I will give you just the TLDR, and there are some more arbitrage opportunities out there, but not the big one. So the TLDR is basically the following: people stole the ETH, and they imagine you stole 120,000 ETH. You can't go into USDC because USDC is centralized, and they can freeze your funds. So what did they actually do? They go into Sol, and if you sell this big number of ETH into a small Sol pool, you absolutely wreck the pool, and this is where the arbitrage comes in. And the arbitrager, they saw this, most likely a bot, and so he arbitraged $130,000 USDC into $330,000 of USDC, and I saw a couple of more arbitrage opportunities. So the next time when there is a big hack, um, maybe try to look out for arbitrage opportunities. I was at my PC and I saw them, but I was not thinking deeply about it, and I was lacking the knowledge, quite frankly. But now I do understand the dynamics. And next time I will run some calculations. I obviously don't have $130,000 on my Solana, but I can make some nice arbitrage things. So yeah, next time if something similar happens, obviously be afraid that my ETH is screwed, but I will try to look for those kind of opportunities. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts about this? Any comments?
I thought you were going to say you would use the USDC to buy a wormhole ETH and then bridge it back to Ethereum and then sell it at a profit. But
This could be a strategy, absolutely.
what you mentioned, I don't fully understand it yet, Patrick, because if you have a lot of USDC and you buy a lot of SOL, then you're basically you're basically having to pay a lot of slippage on the pool, right? Because you're a huge you do a huge transaction, so you get less SOL than you would
No,
normally get.
there is not much slippage for 100k USDC into
Oh,
Sol.
100K. Okay.
No,
Sorry, I thought it was bigger amounts. But okay, so let's
no.
say, but was it the hacker that did this or just an arbitrager who did this?
An arbitrager.
Okay, so an arbitrager, they swapped 100K USDC for SOL,
Yeah,
And then they use the sol to buy wormhole ETH, right?
exactly.
And where does the part come in where he has to be concerned about USDC, of Circle freezing them? Because he's not a hacker, right? So
Yeah,
why would
exactly
Circle
that.
freeze it?
No. The arbitrageur, he doesn't need to be afraid. The hacker needs to be afraid. So imagine that the hacker dumped
Hmm.
120,000 ETH in USDC. They will just freeze their account. So the
Yeah.
arbitrageur is totally fine with using USDC. But the arbitrageur, he could have sold his ETH to USDC, but he didn't do it because he was afraid that his USDC got locked. So he transitioned his ETH into Sol, and this is why the Sol ETH pool got totally wrecked.
Oh, but you mean the hacker did it, like the hacker?
Yeah, the
They
hacker did
swapped.
it. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, okay, now I understand. Okay.
the hacker
Yeah,
exchanged
yeah, okay.
120,000 ETH. So this was roughly 250 million
Hmm.
into this pool, and 250 million into a pool. Yeah, you're right. Slippage comes into play, and yeah, so you got the point, I guess.
I see. And didn't he also swap to Bitcoin and then use, the how do you call it, random BTC or something, or like or wormhole or something to get out of the ecosystem? Or did they use like a Solana-based wormhole?
What happened
Sorry,
after
not a
this
wormhole,
arbitrage?
a mixer. I
I
mean,
have no idea. What happened afterwards?
Mhm.
How we got out of this soul? I have no idea.
Okay, okay.
I just think this arbitrage is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. And also, what you can also do, Patrick, what hackers also like to do instead of going into Sol, when they're on Ethereum, they go into a curve pool because if they put their USDC into curve, then it can't get blocked by Circle either. So this
Ah,
also
okay.
happens quite often.
Yeah. You know, no hacking advice here, guys and girls. Just interesting ideas and observations we are having.
True. Yeah, not
Okie
hacking
dokie.
advice.
No hacking advice. Yeah. Yeah, no financial advice, no hacking advice. What are we actually doing? I think it's just for informational and educational purposes, right?
Exactly.
Okie dokie. Do you want to transition to the exciting part?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Do you have anything?
Yeah. While I was on holiday, I explored some new blockchains actually. Um,
Oh.
I explored Moonbeam. I'm not sure if you know that one, but that's like Moon River is like the Kusama version of the EVM, capable chain on
Mhm.
yeah on Kusama basically. And Moonbeam is like the EVM one on Polkadot, and it's like kind of like a fledgling new, relatively new chain. So that one
Mhm.
I've been checking out the yields. Also Moon River, but I checked it out in the past. And also a chain called Kronos. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
Yeah, it's from CRO.com, Kronos, right?
Um, it could actually be. I have no clue.
Yeah.
It's,
So
mhm,
Crypto.com has the token CRO, and
mhm.
I'm 99.9% sure that it's from it's basically their chain. So a similar model that a BNB has done with the Binance Smart Chain, which they will now rebrand to the BNB chain. But yeah, sorry, don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. And I just want to say that I've been looking for yield farming opportunities on those chains. My general impression is that Moonriver has been farmed out most of it. There are a couple of opportunities that seem interesting. For instance, like 100 Finance launched there, which has
Mhm.
some really nice APR pools. And Moonbeam and Kronos, I would say Kronos, the yields are a little bit better than on Moonbeam right now. But in general, I would say it's hard to find, of course, naturally, it's hard to find places that have really insane, like 100% plus yields, on solid tokens, basically.
Mm.
So the yields are, I would say, maybe a little bit better than Solana right now, but not a whole lot better. In general, yields seem a bit depressed last couple of weeks slash month.
Mm.
So that was I'm excited about to explore it more and to make a sheet for those chains. And also, I'm not sure. I haven't heard you talk much about East Denver, but of course, East Denver is probably one of the biggest Ethereum conferences, right?
Mhm.
And they have a lot of videos always of their sessions that you can watch for free on YouTube. So I recommend people to check out the East Denver channel on YouTube and check out some of the videos because I think it's also
Yeah.
they have some kind of sometimes really interesting talks among those.
Mm. Yeah, I agree, and I actually can recommend a couple of things. I did not mention it just in regards to time, so but let me give you maybe one recommendation, which is always awesome. Listen to the Vitalik stuff. He talks about digital states on digital currencies and digital states. This was interesting. And then the talk from David Hoffman was quite cool. But yeah, the other ones they were okayish, but those were the one that stood out to me. But thanks for bringing it up.
Cool.
I just left it off the table because due to time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic. Or do you have anything that excites you still?
Yeah, I do have one thing I would like to talk about what excites me.
Sure.
And I will keep it quite brief. So obviously our MVP excites me, the hackathon excites me, where we are in. We are still in the process of developing a product, so stay tuned, guys and girls. And I would like to talk about the Degen farm for, let's say, a couple of minutes. So this is my first experience, no, my second experience actually with the Degen farm. There was this Degen farm a couple of months ago, which was called DinoSwap. Yeah, you basically, so what is a Degen farm? Degen farm is basically, from my own definition, a farm where you are pretty convinced that it's just about playing a game of magical chairs. So you have no conviction that the token will perform really good. You just go into farm which has like 100,000% APY or APR, and you farm the token, you sell the token, and you hope that other people basically have different assumptions, and you're basically playing against them because they are holding the token or whatever. So it's basically like playing PvP. And there was this protocol I discovered thanks to the Solana Alpha channel from GRAPE Protocol, and it's called Sunny Side Up. They had this interesting launch event where you basically have to deposit an LP token. Let's say, for example, you go into the farm of BTC USDC on Radium, for example, and then you get a LP token that you actually are in this farm, in this pool. Then you give Sunny Side Up the LP token, and basically they are the owner of the LP token. So this is where the risk comes in, because they can take your LP token and basically go to Radium and get your money, and this is some kind of rug pull. But they actually didn't do it Sunny Side Up. And I did my research about them, and why I have pretty high conviction that they won't rug, for now at least. And so they had this farming event where you can farm their Aloha token for a couple of weeks, but Aloha token was not tradable. It was just like the definition that in a couple of weeks you can exchange your Aloha token for the SSU token, so for the Sunny Side Up token, and it will get exchanged in a 1-to-1 ratio. And the SSU token was at roughly $1 a couple of weeks ago, and now it's at roughly 20 cents, so it's going down a lot. But the APRs are like crazy. And long story short, yesterday they launched their event where you can basically exchange your Aloha token to the SSU token, and you can actually start farming the SSU token. And I was at my PC because I knew the exact time when it went live, and then I tried something. So I actually deposited roughly $1,500 in there, so a quite high number for me for my personal portfolio. And I said, okay, screw it, I will just try it out. They make a legit, somewhat legit impression on me. Screw it, I will go into this pool, and it had like 350,000% APR. So I got into the pool. It was the SSU USDC pool, so huge impermanent loss risk most likely, because the SSU price will go down and then we will have huge impermanent loss. But I was able to farm for the first half an hour $5 a minute. So within the first half an hour, I was basically making money like, oh man, this is awesome. But now it has declined a lot. So right now I'm making about $30 an hour. So it has declined a lot. My plan is to get my initial investment out by farming and dumping the token. And then I still have the LP token, the SSU USDC pool, which was worth roughly $1,500 when I got in. Now it's worth roughly $900. So yeah, this is where the impermanent loss and the price dumping comes into play. But I do get a lot of joy out of it. I do learn a lot. And I'm almost at break even. Plus I have the LP token, which is like I said, roughly worth $900. So within the last 24 hours, I made roughly $1,000 due to this farm in profit. And yeah, it's super interesting. And it actually makes me excited. And now I'm on the research on, okay, where can I find more of those farms? Where can I look? Because it was just a total coincidence that I found them during the Solana Alpha channel. But where do people find them? Do they take a look at the blockchain and see what smart contracts gets deployed? Is there some kind of Rug.io? Rug.io is a platform where they list new protocols, for example, for the Solana ecosystem. So yeah, I'm in the research phase right now on how to find new protocols, because I haven't made that much money in yield farming ever. And if you do the normal yield farming, like putting your MSOL USDT into a pool, you deposit like multiple thousand and you make like $2 a day. It's just totally not worth it. So yeah, so this is quite interesting. It gets me excited, but I need to do a little bit more research before I can give more information about this. Yeah, Mark, two questions. First, what do you think about it? And second, do you know a resource on where to find those farms?
Well, with regards to the letter, I can safely say I don't. Well,
Damn.
like Rugdog probably has like a schedule, right? Maybe
Mm,
this. Or what you could maybe also do, I haven't looked into this, but maybe you can check like the new CoinGecko listings or something. And
mm,
that may be also an interesting way to see which new tokens are out. But then you would have to filter it though, because there's a lot of tokens listing every day, I
mm,
assume. So this may be an option for you. And with regards to yeah, I mean, you made amazing gains. I can't,
yeah,
the results speak for themselves. Although I do think, it is a little bit of a game of musical chairs. So if you're in very early and you're more like in the insiders group of the people who know about it, then
mm,
you can make amazing gains. But you know that the game is rigged, right? So it's like, yeah, how to say it? It's like, it's not really, yeah, I can't think of words there, but it's not really like a good, yeah, social kind of farm, basically, right? You're basically, yeah, selling your tokens into people who are naive enough who to believe into a project and basically dumping on other people. But of course, you're making a lot of money with it, and it works. So, and it's free.
mm,
I mean, it's a free economy, so you're free to do it, of course. So, I think it's a little bit like not an ethical thing, or in some aspects, but at the other hand, it works, and yeah,
mm.
I'm quite envious of these results. So it's yeah, basically keep it up, and hopefully you can find more of
Yeah.
these farms in the future.
Yeah, it feels a lot like playing poker actually. So when people are playing poker, I think that it's their own money and they can do whatever they want. And if they go into a table with let's say regular people who play regular poker, they will most likely lose money. But yeah, I do see your point. I do feel kind of bad, but on the other side, I was on the other side as well. So I was in a dino farm, for example, and I got in luckily break even. But yeah, I think it's a learning experience for those guys as well. So I think it's just an open market, and they can absolutely rock everything, and I get out there with the loss even right now. So I think I'm not the biggest fish on the table. There are those people who lock up multiple thousands, or the investors within this ecosystem, and they can rock me whatever. So yeah, I don't think that I'm the guy who is winning there. In every case, yeah, it's just like playing poker. Actually, it feels a lot like this.
Yeah. So I don't mean to say this, this negatively. So
Mhm.
in general, yield farming, a lot of yield farming basically the same thing, in a lot of aspects. Like, although it's on a less degen scale, basically. Like
Mhm.
how many farms have we been in that we in the end we end up dumping a token, right? Like on Aldrin or something, or
Mhm.
Cropper or some other sites, or
Everyone
Orca
does it
even.
basically.
So everybody does it. So yeah, I don't want you to feel bad about it. It's
Mhm.
just that it's more on the degen end, and I don't know if it's net beneficial. Like, I mean, like, can you make a profit doing this for a long term, or is the rug risk too big that at some point you will
Mhm.
basically lose it all? So this is what I'm kind of interested in. But for people like tryyield.crypto or something on Twitter, he has been also in these kind of degen farms, and he's also been into these farms before they were even listed on the website. Like,
Mhm.
so when they were just on the blockchain, and he was getting insane APRs. So I think I think it may actually be sustainable if
Yeah,
you're really a smart researcher and about finding these farms basically.
I think you nailed it when you said you need to be early because in the first half an hour I made like I said $5 a minute, and this was the part where I made the big money. But right now I think it's okay-ish. I make uh, I make let's say 50 cent a minute, but yeah, my LP token declines like by 50 cents a
Hmm.
minute, even even similar. So it might be not even worth it right now after a day. So you need to be really early, then you make a lot of money. But
Yeah.
yeah, after the day, it might be totally not worth it actually.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, dokie, awesome. Yeah, do you want to transition to the
Yeah.
last part of Solar Challenge?
Yes. Let's do that.
Do you want to start?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. So 2 weeks ago, My dollar value was $780, and now my dollar value is $704. So I lost about $75 due to market circumstances. In the meantime, Solana itself went from 111.5 to 85. So I slightly outperformed Solana by I gained 1.3 Sol in Sol terms, but of course I underperformed the dollar, so it's still yeah, not that great performance. Yeah, these are just, yeah, we keep saying it, but I never would have expected that like 16 weeks after we started the podcast that Solana would be like almost half the price of what it was when we started. But yeah, how about you, Patrick?
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar to me actually, but I just lost a little bit more. I think you are half into risk-on assets and half into stablecoins, right?
Yeah, I actually have a little bit more stablecoins. I have like 75% or something, or 70%
Oh,
stablecoins.
interesting. So I think that's the reason why you are able to outperform Solana that much, because if
Hmm.
Solana declines a lot and you are 75% into USDC, yeah, I think that's the reason why you outperform. For me, I'm still mostly risk on. I have like, so my value decreased from $520 roughly to 400, so I lost $120 roughly. I managed to outperform Solana by zero point zero 0.01 Solana, so yeah, pretty much no outperformance there. And it's just due to the fact that the market dumped, and yeah, I do have a little bit of MSOL, ETH, BTC, and BTC and ETH declined a little bit less than Solana, so that's the reason actually. I'm still mostly in those option protocols, and I can imagine, ooh, next week I will get super wrecked because I'm in some of those option protocols where they actually sell cash secured puts. And selling cash secured puts means actually that you're hoping that the prices will stay stable or they will go up. Because if the prices will go down, people will exercise the option that you sold them, and you basically have to buy their underlying asset, and you make a loss. So you actually lose money by selling cash secured puts when the prices go down below your strike price. I know this was a little quick explanation, and options is a thing. It took me like a year or so to wrap my head around fully, but now I think I got it. Not fully, by no means fully. I do understand buying and selling covered calls and covered puts. It's there are different strategies out there, like betting on volatility, and making spread bets and stuff like this. So yeah, I'm by no means an expert, but the cash you could puts one at least, I think I understand them. So yeah, I'm down at roughly 24% this week over the last 2 weeks, and yeah, let's see where we are in the next couple of weeks. I think most likely that there won't be a big bull market within the next couple of weeks. That's at least my own expectation. But yeah, I think I learned a lot, and that's the most important part right now. And I think that's the most important part for the Solana challenge at all, to learn a lot, to know how to play the markets, to know how to yield farm. And yeah, so I'm quite happy with the results because I think from the way I exercise my Solana portfolio challenge, I feel comfortable. And yeah, it brings me a lot of joy. I learn a lot. And yeah, so I'm quite happy with it, except the prices, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, I still have faith in Solana, Solana long term, so
Mm.
it's an amazing chain with amazing technology. I'm sure
Mm.
it will be fine.
And the amazing backing. There was actually this interesting point I experienced 2 times right now over the last couple of weeks. So it's just a thought, but I think we can wrap up with this thought if that's okay for you.
Sure.
So my thoughts actually the following. Um, Solana is a pretty new coin, and they live up on their hype because their fee model makes absolutely no sense at all. They spent like a yearly revenue of multiple billions to have the chain working, and they make like a couple of 100,000 per year. So the discrepancy is really big. So you have to ask yourself the question: okay, who is coming up for this discrepancy? And those are the VCs. So I noticed something. The last couple of times when the market dropped, Solana dropped sometimes a little bit less. And over the last couple of hours, the market went up a little bit, and Solana went up a little bit more. So I am thinking that those guys actually trying to make the Solana token look strong than if new people go into CoinGecko and they see, okay, BTC is up like, let's say 1% and Solana is up like 5%. Wow, Solana, still strong, still awesome. And yeah, I think they want to hold the ground with Solana at roughly $80 right now, so that Solana will stay within the top 7 or top 6 or top 8. And I think that it's just idea and a thought and observation that the VCs might be playing this game right now because the markets are pretty illiquid. So if there is not much volume going on, you can move the market with relatively low amount of money. If we are in the middle of a bull market and everyone wants to buy Solana or sell Solana, in order to manipulate the prices, you have to have higher capital, so big amount of capital to move the market. But for now, it's quite quiet actually. So I think this is an interesting observation. I have no idea if it's true. It happened 2 times, but yeah, just as a wrap-up thought, yeah, some observation. Any thought about this, or do you want to wrap it up?
I think it's very interesting what you say. I think it's definitely definitely possible. I didn't consider it, but now that you mention it, there does seem to be some stickiness around this $80 mark. So yeah, it's a good theory.
Okay, awesome. Okay, folks, then yeah, hopefully you're all stay safe, stay healthy. Don't get liquidated. Mark, I think you got liquidated a couple of times or once within the last couple of weeks, right? So
Yes.
guys, don't do what Mark does. Play it safe. Don't be greedy. Don't do leverage stuff. Again, no financial advice. This is how I got how I live in crypto for the last 4.5 years. I can sleep well, so hopefully you can sleep well as well. And we hope and pray for the guys in Russia and Ukraine that things will work out well. Okay, guys, see you next week, and yeah, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.